Hey guys, so this is my first vlog. I am a truck driver, as y'all can see. I work for, but yeah, man, this is not gonna be a typical vlog, man. I just want to take y'all through a life and day of a truck driver. Currently, I'm in Pennsylvania. I picked up my load. I'm in Pennsylvania, and I'm headed to Only, Illinois. If you're from Illinois, you know where that's at. It's a place called Only. But anyways, there's this thing called the 10-hour reset. I just completed that, brushed my teeth, fixed up my truck. I did my pre-trip, and now I'm headed to Only, Illinois. It's about a less than 10 hour drive. I just left I dropped off my last load in Hamburg, PA, and then I had to pick up in Jessup, Maryland, I believe it's called. Jessup, Maryland. So it's very important as a truck driver to know what interstate to get on. From Maryland, oof, never get on 68, guys. Never get on 68. If you're a truck driver, especially if you're loaded, never get on 68. Interstate 68 coming from east to west, never. It's a lot of this. So you know your shit going slow as hell. I ain't mean to curse you. But yeah, so what I did was I jumped on 70. 70 turns into 68. Instead of going 68, I just went up to 70, and now I'm on 70. I slept last night. I slept great last night. I got at least 10 hours. What else? I say the toughest thing about being a truck driver, honestly, is sleep and eating habits. Those are the main two things. Because if you know how to drive, you know how to drive. The only thing is, you have to watch what you eat so your body can function a certain way. But if you don't eat correctly, you will gain weight. And it gets horrible. It gets bad. You know, if I happen to run across some people that look horrible, like what I'm talking to you about, then you'll understand what I got going on. What I'm trying to express to you guys. Outside of that, key things that you need to focus on when you're driving trucks is, number one, so your legs don't lock up, drive in cruise control. You hear that right there? That means I'm going outside the line because I'm a company driver, which is great. It lets me know, like, if I'm drifting or not. Especially when you're tired, you need that to wake you up. Like, okay, maybe I'm a little too tired. Outside of that, I mean, knowing when you loaded and when you empty, how fast your trailer is going versus, I mean, how fast your truck is moving versus when you're loaded and when you're empty. Right now, I'm loaded. I drive reefer for Artur Express. Artur Express is in Hazelwood, Missouri. So they're pretty cool. This year, what's today's date? Today's date, all I know is it's 2023. We're in June. We're 6 months in, and so far this company has been great, man. There's been a lot of changes with pay because of everything that's going on, as far as less freight. There's been a boom in drivers, mainly women. There are a lot of women drivers, and it's also been it's been cool, man. I mean, I still make great money. It's better than working a 9 to 5. For all you truck drivers out there, or people that's aspiring to be truck drivers, man, there's a lot that you can do, and hopefully through my journey, you will see the beauty of being a truck driver. It's a lot of beauty. Even in a down year, it's a lot of beauty. Recently, I would say recently because this happened within maybe 4 months ago, I was an owner-operator. I tried it for the first time, February. Tried it for the first time. Man, when I told you I got robbed by a company called Vior or something like that, Vior Transportation, and they screwed us over. I'm talking about we didn't get paid. I didn't get paid for 2 months. I was living off advances. That's another thing too, man. Understanding how the advances thing work, how to survive when you're a truck driver, when you got company trying to steal from you. Now, this is not me trying to disregard you. That's just my this is me trying a foreign company instead of sticking to what I know. I tried something different and somebody screwed me over. Man, what else? Interstates. Since I've been a truck driver, I've always told people who are truck drivers like myself, I am a Miami kid. I'm from Miami, I'm from Florida, you know what I mean? And what that means is I like to stay south. So normally when I join a company, first thing I tell my dispatch is I like to do any job below I-40, right? The company I'm with, they're Midwest. So I have to pick and choose my battles. What I've learned so far is, as a reefer, right? This company goes to PA. My brother who got me into trucking always told me, he said, Cam, you driving trucks, man, you definitely don't want to go to the Northeast, especially during the winter time. So I'm like, why? Well, he was like, well, it snows. And you don't never want to go to New York. I say, why is that? New York is the place I've always wanted to be. Well, he tells me, well, you know, hard to find parking, traffic is horrible, and they have a lot of low bridges. And there's a lot of people that don't want to do 95 going to New York or just New York, period. Through my time, I've only been through New Jersey, and I've seen New York like to the left of me going east, and I had to stop in Newark or the other part of Jersey. I've been to Maryland, Baltimore. I've been to all 48 states. The one place I haven't been is New York. I don't think I ever dropped off in Boston, but I've driven through Boston, and I've been to Maine as a truck driver, which is wild. That's when I was working for a bigger company. I started my career off with Stevens Transport. Great company, mom and pop place, and they're great. They're in Mesquite, Texas. They sponsored me being a truck driver. So that was always cool. And yeah, man, Stevens Transport taught me everything I know as a truck driver. You know, one thing I told myself when they sponsored me, because it was 2015, I graduated college in 2013. I worked at Waffle House. When I moved to Georgia, fresh out of college. I went to Florida A&M, and I stayed with my mom and my sister. They was telling me, you gotta get a job. I'm struggling because everything takes so long to get hired. It was wild, man. And I remember working for Waffle House, being a branch manager. Of course, I get fired. I'm 24 years old at the time, and I'm hiring all the pretty girls. I'm talking to the pretty girls. I end up getting fired. Anywho, from there, can you blame me? From there, I started working for Dollar General. I was assistant manager. Basically, when you have a bachelor's degree, you can work as a manager pretty much anywhere, as long as you can sell yourself in the interview. So that was fun. But living in Georgia was also fun as well. You know, I got my first place. My people was living in Clarkston, Georgia at the time. I ended up moving to Stone Mountain. I started struggling. I was working at a place called Sprinkles. I was waking up at 4 in the morning, and the job would be over at 12. It was in Lenox Mall, Lenox Square, however you want to call that mall. You should travel up there from Stone Mountain. And I talked to my brother one day. I said, man, this ain't getting it. This is 2015 at the time. And my brother proceeds to tell me, say, man, I've been in your shoes before. The only difference is I didn't go to college, and I have kids. I'm married, I have kids. Say, you know what you need to look into? Truck driving. Ding, 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 ding. I say, I'll do anything to get me out of this slump. So in 2015, I believe this summer, I was still like 5 months into my lease. I say, Mom, would you like to take over my lease? My sister, would you like to take over my lease? The day I had studied for my permits, and when I studied for my permits, I got my permits, so that way when I went into truck driving school, I didn't have to take that first week, because they give you 3 weeks. One is to study for your permits, the second week is to back up, third week is to drive. And once you pass all 3, you're good to go. So I've already canceled the first week. So my first week was spent on the modulator learning how to drive and back up. So I had an up on everybody else. So I encourage everybody to do the same thing I did, which is get your permits. You don't need a sponsor for that. Go pay for your permits. Get it out of the way. What else? So 2015, I went to Mesquite, Texas. I had to catch a Greyhound. That took 17 hours just to get there from Miami to Mesquite, Texas. Was I in Miami? Yeah, it was Miami to Mesquite, Texas. That was cool. They taught me everything, man. Showed me the ropes. I was on the road for, I think it was, I had to get, I don't know if it was 3 mountains, 1,200 miles. I had to get, it was like, I think it was 2,700 miles I had to get in, or something like that. And I had to do like 3 mountains and stuff like that. And I just remember my trainer going on and on about Donovan. You ain't a real trucker unless you've been down Donovan. Man, I was so terrified. I just remember being a truck driver at the early stages, being terrified, man. There's nothing wrong with being terrified being a truck driver, man. It happens, especially in that first year. It's very tough, because just my mom taught me a long time ago when she taught me how to drive. She said, Cam, you have to drive for everybody. And I've kept that motto in my head for as long as I can remember. To this day, you have to drive for everybody. You can be a great driver, but that doesn't mean that everybody else is a great driver. People will cut you off. Even police officers. I've been cut off by police officers. Like, just disrespectfully. Like, you know what I mean? But just a little bit about me, man. I have a bachelor's degree at Florida A&M, FAMU. I'm a Rattler. 2013, I also went to FIU down in Miami. Great organizations, great school, great campuses. Everything is everything, you know. So, I'll get into how I got involved with Artur Express. Artur Express was definitely a turning point in my life, just like most things are. I can't wait to share all this information with you guys, but like and subscribe. There's a lot more to get into. I'll talk to you more about Artur Express, Swift Transportation, and Stevens Transport. I've done a few local gigs, but I'll get into a few of them. If you want to know anything, comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. All right? We're going to get into everything. All right? Peace.